Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go! Hey, folks. Welcome to another episode of Ballsy Uncut 201. Going to hear from Jon Ryan. He kicked my ass in the picks last week in the Wildcard Round, including, last night I actually got that one right. Texans over the Steelers. It was a blowout, but really was looked worse on the scoreboard than it was for a good chunk of that game. Be interesting to see if that's the end of Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin. At least Tomlin in Pittsburgh, Rodgers for his playing career. Rodgers will go out as one of the greatest. And, you know, whether you like what he said off the field or his thoughts, I like the fact that he's authentic. So I like that about him, very much so. Kind of hits home for me. All right. Well, probably just tell you right now, probably only have one more installment this week. My dad passed away end of last week. And as I tape this, it's prayers tonight, funeral tomorrow, Wednesday. And great man, loved sports, loved the fact that I was a sports broadcaster. Didn't know much about sports, but just loved it. So I'm going to miss him. And thanks to everybody that's reached out. I do appreciate it. The CFL meetings going on in Calgary. Some news out of there. Riders re-signing Tavon Campbell. Great signing when it happened. Great re-signing. One of the biggest plays in Rough Rider playoff history. Made a number of big plays, interception-wise and knockdowns. Even a couple of tackles this season that were monumental. So great re-signing there by the Rough Riders. Malik Carney, who has been the anchor of a Corey Mace defense. Perfect middle linebacker for that defense. Or check that. Sorry, not Malik Carney. Jameer Thurman. Perfect anchor of that defense in the middle. Malik Carney, they're still trying to come to terms with him. I guess talks are at an impasse. And Jeremy O'Day saying it'll be difficult, but possible to re-sign Kean Schaefer-Baker. That's the problem. When you win and you got to pay people to come back and try to repeat, it's hard to get everybody back in the fold, especially the way the CFL is with those quick deals, those deals that aren't long-term. So we'll see how that shakes down in Rider Nation. Bob Dice, who was a part of Rider Nation at one time, coach of the Ottawa Redblacks, let go. He has joined the Hamilton Tiger Cats as their special teams coordinator. That's a great signing by Milanovic and the crew there in Hamilton. And, of course, league meetings, like I said, continuing. Lots on the table, including the quarterback sneak and limiting the quarterback sneak. Come on now. What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? There's already a number of rules for these guys to adhere to and to call in a game. Much tougher than the American game to call. And so I think our refs, dollars to donuts, do a great job. Best football officials in the world. I think they're better than NFL officials. I really do. When you factor in the training and the money they get paid. But we're gonna have so we got the bullshit fake Canadian rule where if you've played so long in the same place you can get 47 or 49% of the Canadian snaps on defense. Get out of here. I hate that rule. So now we're going to add, okay, how many sneaks can we have in a game? The Tommy Stevens rule, friend of the show. Okay, come on. Here's one rule I would like to see, and I'll ask Jon Ryan about this later. If you're going to change a rule, how about on third down, any third and one, third and short, third and one, because you don't have third and inches, third and one, you get to be mano-a-mano in the line of scrimmage. That's the only time there's no yard off the ball, whether at the goal line or anywhere in the field of play. Third and one, you get to be mano-a-mano. That makes it maybe a little fairer. I think that would be a good tweak. But don't go limiting how many quarterback sneaks we can have. Oh, no, we can't. Calgary was only supposed to get 3, and we just gave them 4 quarterback sneaks. That has disaster written all over it. Also sounds like guys like Danny Machocha, Mike O'Shea, Dave Dickinson, not too happy they weren't consulted about the proposed rule changes. I would love to be a fly on the wall in those meetings because they're going to go in there with their ass chapped over this thing. So I'll be interested to see how the league stands up to the guys who actually coach this game. Although some of them are resigned to the fact that the rules are happening and this is the way it is. I'd like to see what the explanation is behind closed doors, because we haven't got the straight goods on that. There's no way we got the straight goods on it. But anyway, they'll figure it out in Calgary, hopefully. Coming up, we've got Jon Ryan and another baller segment with my kid, Ethan Ball of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers from the Den, where he's training athletes, the stars of tomorrow today. Oh, eat your heart out, Jon Ryan, right down the middle. This isn't Kicking It with Ballsy. No, it's Kicking It with Jon Ryan, the only Saskatchewan kid to win a Super Bowl and a CFL veteran who started his football career in Regina in the RMF and has helped build it to what it is today, giving back to the community and giving back to Regina Minor football. This segment, Kicking It with Jon Ryan, brought to you by another great guy and his family, Ben Garrow, Advantage Collision in Saskatoon and PA. They're the family shop that cares. They're the best in-class auto body repair shop, OEM certified, and ready to meet your needs in the quickest time possible. It's Kicking It with Jon Ryan. Tip of the cap to you. 5-1 in the picks. I was, or 4-2, I think. I was 2-4. Like you smoked me.
Well, I really missed that one last night. My God, Houston defense looks good.
Yeah, they do look good. I mean, it was close for a while, and then things kind of got away. We'll get into the picks coming up here in the divisional round. Let's start there. Is that it for Aaron Rodgers? Do you think Aaron's done?
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is his own man. You know, he does what he wants. You know, yeah. So I think it's probably the end for him. You know, I don't think he'll want to go out on that, but you know, most people don't go out the way they want to. You know, but you know, whenever he goes out, you know, start the clock, because 5 years later he's going to be wearing that gold jacket. He's a definite first ballot Hall of Famer.
Now I know you were just starting when you were teammates with him. What's he like as a teammate? Like in terms of guys you've been around with excellence and preparation for the game.
One of the best I've ever been around. You know, it's just the way he prepared was unlike anyone I've ever seen. His knowledge of the game was unlike anyone I've ever seen. It was a great learning. He was younger than me, but it was just great to learn from him just how he approached the game every week. He went as far as, at the time, as he said, Brett Favre was our starting quarterback. Aaron Rodgers was our backup. He was our scout team quarterback. And he took every guy in the scout team, and they would stay after practice every day, go over the plays in the other team. He would have meetings after that. They'd all meet. They all had matching laptop computers. He bought them all computers that they'll study from. So usually on Friday when you go into practice, the backup quarterback will come in with the scout team. They'll hold up a card. They call it a card defense or card offense. They look at the card and they run the play. Not with Aaron Rodgers. They were doing checkdowns. They're audibling out of the other team's plays, and they would destroy our defense. At the time, our defense was one of the best defenses in the world. We were 13-3. We should have won the Super Bowl that year. And he was eating our defense up every Friday afternoon. It was incredible to watch just how much he cared about that and how much he brought everyone along with him. He was one of the, you know, I know he's getting a bit of a bad rap now for all the stuff that he's done, whatever. It's none of my business what he does off the field. But he was one of the greatest teammates I've ever had.
Well, one thing I'll say about him is whether you like him, whether you don't like him, I'm tend on the side to like him. I don't know that I agree with everything he says, but what I do agree with is it's kind of close to my heart. He's authentic. He's the same guy. Like if you walk into a room with Aaron Rodgers, like I haven't, but you have, he's the same guy. Like it's not like 1 minute he's talking about it this way and then the next minute he's talking about it that way. That's what I like about him.
No, I've been around a ton of guys in this industry that are two different guys, and I understand it. They want to make themselves look one way in the media, and another way in the locker room, probably a different way at home. Aaron Rodgers, he's one guy. He's the same no matter whether he's talking to the press, whether he's talking to a teammate, whether he's in the huddle. He's talking the exact same way. You know, take him or leave him, he doesn't really care.
One rap he gets is that he blames other guys. Like he'll blame his receivers or he'll do this. But is that a misconception? Because I would think he's just as hard on himself.
I think it's a misconception. I think he holds guys accountable. He puts in all this time. He knows the playbook inside and out. He knows all the play calls. He knows all how to read a defense. If guys beside him aren't living up to that same standard, he's going to let them know it. And I appreciate that. It's not pointing fingers. It's being like, come on. Like if you want to be a part of this, if you want me to throw you the damn ball, you better be on the same page as me. And it's not that hard to do.
I think Mike Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game in 7 years. I think he's won 4 or 5 in the 19 years he's been there. He's a great regular season coach. Yep. They haven't had a losing season ever. But is it time for the Steelers or Mike Tomlin to try something else?
That's always a tough question. I always feel like if I was a GM or if I was an owner of a team in the NFL, my loyalty would probably nip me in the butt a little bit. It'd be kind of my demise because I'd be loyal to a guy like Tomlin until he wanted to walk away. You know, it's hard to make the playoffs in the NFL. It's hard to have a winning team, and he does it every single year. He just, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to get over that hump in the last decade, and I think that was his 7th straight loss in the postseason, which is a new record, which isn't great. But to be able to lose in the postseason, you have to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of organizations out there that wish they could have lost 7 games in the last decade in the playoffs. So that means they would have been in the damn playoffs like the Cleveland Browns. But so it's tough to say because for me, I would stick with him just because he just has to get over that hurdle. He hasn't got over that hurdle lately. But as we talked about before, it's like who's better out there?
Yeah.
Who are you going to go get that's better than Mike Tomlin? Like, tell me that.
Yeah, so John Harbaugh, he beat John Harbaugh. That's why Harbaugh's out. Stefanski, a Cleveland Browns coach, 2-time coach of the year, but is he better than Mike Tomlin? Like right now, that you're absolutely right, John. When you make a move, who's better? Like what's better out there just to make a move?
I know as a good Pittsburgh boy, Mike McCarthy would be chomping at the bit for that job. And I mean, not a bad option. He's a great head coach. But is he better than Tomlin? I don't know. Sometimes they say you gotta freshen things up, and after 19 years he's been there, maybe it's time to move on. But for me, I wouldn't.
I'm surprised that people are so stupid when it comes to football, and I'm not just talking the average Joe Armpit fan at the bar that thinks he can be the next GM or coach. I'm talking some of these guys on like social media or platforms. Listen, Justin Herbert didn't have a great game, okay? And I'm a little Chargers biased. When I watch Charger football, I become a fan instead of actual. I should have known they weren't going to win. That offensive line is atrocious. The receiving core is just okay. But Justin Herbert, people are saying they have to move on from Justin Herbert, and I'm not even talking like Joe Armpit fan. I'm talking about some of these guys. Like, what are you watching?
First of all, that's a ridiculous statement. I think he's still a top 10 quarterback in this league. I shouldn't say still. I think he's a top 10 quarterback on this league and still on the rise. I mean, he's only in his, mid to late 20s?
Yeah, he's 6th year in the league, yeah.
Yeah, late 20s. It's so hard to find a good quarterback. People say, they got the first overall pick. They're going to find a great quarterback. Well, it's still a 50-50. It's still a coin flip. The most touted player you've ever seen coming out of college is still a coin flip whether or not he's going to be a bust or not. It's tough. So if you have a good quarterback, which they do, I would not move on.
Tell you,
I think that's even ridiculous even to be talking about.
Yeah, well, that's just the way it is. I'll tell you what, this is why I've always said, John, I think you're on the same page as me, hand the awards out at the end of the year. Like we in the NFL or even in the CFL, 4 weeks in, we're already having discussions on who the MOP in the CFL or MVP is in the NFL, right? And I thought Justin Herbert is an MVP, but he didn't have a great game. I mean, I'm not just going to wipe my hands of, giving him any blame. So, but look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen he got tested for a concussion. He tweaked his knee, he tweaked his hand, and he still led them to victory over the Jacksonville Jags. And I think he's going to beat the Denver Broncos too. Like, hand the trophies out at the end of the year.
I agree with that. I think that I think the NFL has it more right than any other sport. Every other sport, NBA, NHL, MLB, all the All-Stars are the first half All-Stars. Yeah. You only have to be good for 80 games in MLB and you'll be an all-star. Well, there's still 82 to play after that, So I think they have it more right than anyone else, but I agree with you. Let's wait it right to the very end before you hand out these awards. But, it's supposed to be based on the regular season, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The awards,
Yeah, it is. Hey, how about Caleb Williams made 2 passes that'll go down maybe in Bears playoff history to keep that thing on the rails. Chicago, don't look now. The Chicago Bears have a legitimate shot of going to the Super Bowl. They really do. That's crazy to say.
It's crazy. It's crazy to say, but also they haven't completely convinced me yet. I think it's been a lot of smoke and mirrors. They're down to the Packers again, and they came back. I mean, kind of a collapse by the Packers, but what was it, 21-3 at half or something like that? I mean, you should never be able to blow that lead in the playoffs. And they did it earlier in the year where the Bears, onside kick, the Hail Mary, One of these days is going to catch up to them, and I think it's going to be this weekend because they're playing a pretty good Rams team. Even though at home you got a West Coast team playing in the sunshine, playing under a dome, going to Chicago, which I'm assuming it's going to be miserable as it always is in Chicago in late January, mid-January. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. I think this is going to be their biggest test of the year.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be the biggest test of the year. And the 49ers get another crack at your Seahawks. Kyle Shanahan's the best coach in the NFL. Like what he's done with that team, they won without George Kittle. Now I think their luck runs out. I think they'll hang and bang with Seattle for about a quarter and a half, and that'll be it. But Kyle Shanahan is a great coach.
Unbelievable coach. He should be in discussions for Coach of the Year for sure for what he's done with that team. They've been banged up all year. I'm talking, and then now they lose George Kittle. I don't think they can hang with the Seahawks, especially now we're working on a short week. Seahawks have had a bye week, which sometimes is a bad thing in the playoffs. You see that team come in a little bit slow. They've had one too many weeks off. They might come out a little bit slow, but I give them no shot against the Seahawks.
Okay, so let's get to the divisional picks. You were kind of, even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. Even a broken clock's right twice a day. But you should be the expert. You're the Super Bowl champ, not me. So let's go to the AFC. I don't know. Denver's home. Denver's rested. But you're not sold on the Bears. I'm not sold on Bo Nix. I think Josh Allen puts on the Superman cape one more time. I think Buffalo beats Denver. I think Buffalo wins that game.
Yeah, once again, I think it's a bit of a coin flip. I'm going to go with Denver because of Buffalo, how banged up Josh Allen was. That guy's got to be feeling like, I think he was in the blue tent 3 times during that game. It was every series, he's in there for a knee. Now he's in there for his head. Now he's in there for his hand. It's geez, when's it going to stop? But I'm going to take Denver. I think if this game was played in Buffalo, I'd take Buffalo. But I'm going to take Denver. I just think with the short week, Buffalo's just too banged up and Denver's too well rested. But as you said, I've never been so unsold on a 14-3 team before as I am with Denver. But we'll see. This would be a great opportunity. As I said last week, Josh Allen needs a statement win. I think he needs another statement win to kind of get this team over that hump. Get them into the AFC Championship, potentially to the Super Bowl. I think McDermott needs it. I think the whole organization needs it. Yeah,
you're right. Hey, so the blue tent. There's nothing but a bench and a blue tent. Why the blue tent? I don't get why the blue tent. You know what I mean? It's not like they got IVs or ECG machine or ultrasound or not. There's nothing. It's just a tent and a bench.
I thought the original use of it was so that outside officials couldn't interfere. So a coach is not allowed in there. Coach, we saw earlier this year, the New York Giants coach went in there. He got fined. It's to keep the coaches out of there, to be like, oh, he's good, especially for the head injuries. You get the independent doctor in there. You have no one from the team saying he can go. You just have the independent doctor saying yes or no, whether this guy has a concussion or not. And I think that's the reason of it, just to kind of keep the coaches away from it and keep their input away from it.
Well, the Texans' offense did not do them really any favors last night, and Christian Kirk had the game of his life for the Texans. Good thing because Nico Collins went down with an apparent concussion, so that would lead you to believe he probably doesn't play this week. They've got a great defense, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going New England over the Texans. It'll be a gross game again, like the one against the Chargers, but I think Drake May gets him to the AFC Championship game in his first playoff run.
I'm going to agree with you. But, what I saw last night is that 2 weeks ago, I really liked the way Aaron Rodgers was playing. That's why I picked Pittsburgh. I said, if anyone can handle that Houston defense, it's him. But when you see that Houston defense rushing 4, getting pressure and dropping 7 into coverage, as a quarterback, there's nothing you can do. You're under pressure and you have 7 guys in coverage. There's nothing you can do. And that's what we saw last night. Aaron Rodgers just absolutely had no hope back there. But at the same time, I think the New England offensive line is a lot better than that Pittsburgh offensive line, and I think that New England's going to win this game.
Yeah, I think.
Once again, it's going to be a gross 13-3, 13-7, something like that type of game.
Yeah. So I got Seattle 24-10. I think we'll be like, oh, San Francisco's up 7-0. Now it's 7-3. Okay, now it's 10-10, and I think they pull away. That's what I think it's going to be like.
Yeah, I think you're pretty accurate there. Where I think it's going to be. San Francisco is going to be good to be able to keep it close in the first half. Yeah. And Seahawks have done this a lot this season, where they've played teams that weren't as good as them, and they kept it. The offense couldn't figure it out in the first half, but the defense is so damn good that they just keep them in the game. Then when it's time for the offense to go, they're not down by 10. They're not down by anything. They're level, and then they take off and end up winning by 10 or 14 points. So I expect it to be close in the first half, and Seattle to pull away in the second half. That's a pretty good score. 24-10, 17-10, something like that. 20-10, somewhere in there.
I'm not, I'm still not sold on the Rams. I wasn't sold on them at the end of the year. They kind of stumbled and stubbed their toe, and Matt Stafford's game even trailed a bit. He did when he had to. When the chips were on the table, he pulled it out 6 of 7 for 60-some yards and a touchdown to beat Carolina. But they barely beat Carolina. It's supposed to be 15 Fahrenheit. I got Chicago winning this one, and I don't know that it's particularly close. Like, I'm not going to say
really.
I don't know. Okay, maybe that's a bad statement. I think they'll win like 24-17 or something. I just don't see it. I don't see it from the Rams. I'm not sold on the Rams.
I would like the Bears to win just so they go into Seattle and we see a different NFC championship that we have never seen before.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Rams coming to the house playing the third time this year. But I still just think the Rams are going to pull it out. I really do. I think the weather is definitely favoring the Bears. You know, the Rams don't want to play in 15-degree. It'll probably be below zero, which is minus 17 Celsius with the wind chill. It'll be a miserable day, and I don't think that the Rams want to play in that. But I still think the Rams are a better team, and I think they're going to pull it out.
You know, I'm kind of leaning towards. I hope your picks are right, like Denver, New England, and I guess the Rams, Seattle, because I don't want to see like. We've already seen the Bills and the Patriots 2 times. I don't need to see them a third time. Well, I've kind of seen the Rams and the Seahawks. I don't need to see them a third time. But we could have championship games that are division rivals, which will make it, I guess, a little even more spicy.
Sure, but yeah, I would love to see like a Houston and the Bills, or Houston and Denver, and the Seahawks and the Bears. I think like something a little bit different. Let's shake it up a little bit. It was already nice going into this postseason knowing we weren't going to see Patrick McWhiney and Mr. Taylor Swift. You know, it was already nice that we weren't going to see them again. Yeah. You know, so I feel like it's already been the best NFL season that I can remember personally. I think it's been outstanding. And the playoffs have lived up to that as well. And with a little bit of fresh blood in there, I think it's fun.
So quickly, let's wrap up about the CFL. Tavon Campbell signs with the Riders again, a 1-year deal. He was a great signing and one of the biggest plays in Rough Rider playoff history. It's quite a luxury for Corey Mace to have. Like he's got 2 veteran corners, Sales and Campbell, and they can flip-flop sides of the field, which is nice. And then they just signed Jameer Thurman in the middle, which obviously he's the anchor of that defense in the middle.
Yeah, it's nice to have Campbell kind of, as they say, a ratio breaker. You know, to have a Canadian guy playing outside in the corner like that is nice. It's nice to have a hometown boy back, and just how great he played. And I think we even discussed, they could kind of, when they signed him last year, it could kind of go either way. You've seen guys come back from the NFL and like their heart isn't quite in it, and they don't do that great. And he absolutely crushed it last year. He looked great. He looked like one of the best players in that defense the entire season, if not one of the best defensive players in the league all season. Had some of the most iconic plays for the Riders last year. So I'm really, really glad to see him back.
Yeah, absolutely. Led the league in interceptions. Okay, and they're having their meetings in Calgary. I think they're discussing a bunch of different things. It sounds like, from what I'm reading on 3 Down Nation, a lot of these coaches and GMs are pissed that they were not consulted. So I'd love to be a fly. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, sitting in some of those talks with the commissioner and everything like that.
I think there's going to be some pretty angry talks in those meetings. I think there's going to be a lot of opinions, a lot of big alpha males sitting in that room banging on their chest for a few hours. I don't know if I want to be a fly on the wall, if I just want to be at the bar drinking and hear about it after. But we'll see what shakes its way out of those meetings.
Well, and one thing they are talking about is limiting, and we can talk both sides of the border. There's the tush push, and now they're talking about limiting, I would call it the Tommy Stevens rule, where you're limiting how many quarterback sneaks you can have in a game. Aren't we over? Listen, I think the CFL officials, dollars for dollars and training, do a better job than NFL officials, actually. That might sound ridiculous, but I do believe that to be true.
It's also a very difficult game to referee.
Yeah.
It's far more difficult to referee the Canadian game than the American game, and it's not even close.
Yeah, I agree. So they have a tough enough time reffing with our rules, the different things that they have to officiate. Are we really going to limit now? Like, they even have the one rule that drives me nuts is the fake Canadian. So the guy plays 5 years in Regina and he's from Tulsa, but because he played 4 or 5 years in one spot, now he can play 49% of the ratio snaps. Like, fuck off with that shit. But so they're gonna keep track of that, and now they're gonna keep track of how many quarterback sneaks we have in a game. Get out of here.
I would say, like, if you don't like the tush push, if you don't want me to do it, then stop it. Stop me. If you're a defense, find a way to stop me from doing it. If you don't like it, stop it.
Here's the one thing. Here's the one thing I would propose, John, in those meetings. I wouldn't limit quarterback sneaks, but how about this? On third down, if you're going to change something on third down, you don't have to give a yard at the line of scrimmage.
That's interesting. I don't hate that. I don't hate that.
Right. You go wide.
In Canada, it's been 3rd and 1 has been an automatic go for it in Canada for 100 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're seeing the NFL now. All of a sudden, it's truly 4-down football. It's south of the border now because they hardly ever punt. Mm-hmm. This is what happens when an entire generation of coaches grew up playing Madden football. As I've said before, you never punt on 4th down in Madden football. But 3rd and 1 is almost an automatic in the CFL. So I don't mind that rule. That would be kind of fun to see.
Yeah, like you're still allowing sneaks. We're not trying to say, okay, oh, darn it, they already had 3 sneaks for the game. Hey, 3rd down, 3rd and 1, you get to be at the line of scrimmage. I think that's fair.
I like that rule.
Hey, John, thanks for this. I appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon.
All right, you bet, buddy.
Thanks, man. Athletes aren't built during the season. They're built here in the off season, where real progress happens. At the Den Sports Performance and Agility Center, they don't just train, they develop. For athletes ages 13 to 17, they offer team packages and individual group training with up to 5 weekly sessions of your choice of dryland or strength-focused work. Every program blends strength, agility, balance, mobility, speed, and recovery with a focus on durability that most programs overlook. Because showing up on game day means staying strong all season. Every session is coached by a certified speed and strength specialist and focused on long-term athletic success, not quick fixes. Flexible programming, real results. The Den Sports Performance and Agility Center is where serious athletes level up. Book your spot now at thedenyqr.ca. The first baller segment of 2026. You're wearing your Dino stuff.
Yeah, repping.
They gave you a nice swag there during the football season, didn't they?
They did. Some Lululemon shorts, Jordan t-shirt, a little cut-off Bill Belichick hoodie. They got some good swag for us pro guys.
You don't know how lucky you got it, man. Like, you really don't. From when I played back to, like, now when you play, like, we had to buy our own sweatsuit, and, like, we didn't get any of that stuff.
Well, and you guys had those ugly orange and brown jerseys with McGuigan.
Oh, yeah, back in the day.
The Mustangs.
Classic right there. That's why your uncle, Randy, liked the Cleveland Browns, I think. That's why I hated the Cleveland Browns and the Denver
Brown and orange.
Broncos. Yeah. I will talk a quick talk about the NFL. When you see that, you can kind of see that one jersey hanging. That's your jersey, game worn. I think that's probably the last one you wore during the year. The playoff one, Mobile's on the back. What do you think of, like, what comes to mind of your first season when you see that jersey?
Yeah, it was a great experience. Obviously a dream come true. I feel like I learned a lot, and I'm just maybe even more excited for next year, really, is all I can really think about. And it's coming up faster and faster here as we get into the new year. And, free agency around the corner. Guys are starting to re-sign. I think the buzz is there, and the guys are getting excited to get it back after training and get back to camp here in a couple months.
Free agency's bullshit. It's already done. Like, they should have it in January because, I mean, hey, I love talking about the CFL year round. They're doing a better job of that. Team's doing a better job of marketing and all that stuff. But by the time free agency rolls around, kind of like NHL trade deadline day, there's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, and I think I just read some article today that they may be talking about changing that in the CFL in terms of dates maybe because I think you're right. I think by the time free agency rolls around the CFL, everybody that is the big name is more than likely already signed, besides a few guys that hit the market. So, it probably needs to be tweaked a little bit.
Hey, did Oliveira pay you the $250 he owes you yet?
Yeah, he sent me a 250. That was
Did
funny
he?
from your guys' chat. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good.
I told him at the end of the year, I said, "You're not leaving. You're coming back." And sure enough, I FaceTimed him that night when he was on his way to the Jets game. We had a good little chat, and
Mm.
yeah, I think he's a Winnipeg legend. He's going to go down as one of the best Bombers of all time, and he's a son of that city. So he'll be in the Ring of Honor someday.
All right. So let's get to what you're doing now. So I guess one more question: is there more pressure? Like you didn't know what you were getting into as a rookie, but there's pressure that comes with that. And then you got hurt, and you didn't know if you were going to stick around on the roster, but obviously you did enough to stick around on the IR, and then got your chance and never looked back. Which I'm not going to say I was shocked. I know you better than anybody, but and that's not being arrogant. I just know. But is there more pressure this year now that you're coming in and you know what to expect, and they are expecting more things from you?
I mean, I guess I look at pressure as a privilege, and not everybody gets to experience pressure in their day-to-day life. So I think that's a privilege. I don't know if I'd call it pressure. I think there's a comfortability that comes with going into year two, and you've already seen the playbook once, and like you said, the coaching staff, and they know what to expect of you. You know what to expect out of them. Um, but yeah, you definitely want to take that next step. I think it's all about progression and learning and getting better year after year and continuing to refine your craft. So more than anything, I think I'm just excited. I'm even more excited for this season because I don't got to sit around and wait in the off season for the draft process, and you don't know where you're going until 5 days before training camp. And I'm just excited to know where I'm going to be at, and I'm just really ready to attack that.
So that's the key right there. So it's great that like you only play a maximum of 20
23 games or something like that.
23, 23 games or something like that if you have to play them all. So that's not a lot of games. It's more practice, and it's more what happens right now between January and when training camp starts in May. But that's not just for pro football players. That's for like it really is where your dreams come true in the off season. So just talk about that mentality and what you're trying to pass along to guys at the den or girls there at the den.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this off season was, you know, try to give back to kids in the community. And I was one of those kids, 10, 15 years ago. For me, the off season is, my favorite season. Obviously, games are always going to be the most fun, and you get to experience playing in front of 30,000 people. Nothing really beats that. But I love putting in the work in the off season. You know, doing stuff behind the scenes that the average person doesn't get to see. And I thrive in that environment, and I love pushing myself in the weight room, in the gym, recovery, and then getting on the turf here at the den and doing my thing too and refining my craft. So it's my favorite time of the year. You really get to look yourself in the mirror and think about what you need to work on and how you can better yourself and get 1% better. So it's my favorite time of the year, and that's what I'm trying to give back to these kids and make them realize their dreams and show them what they need to do outside of the competition area to get to that stage.
Show the people what's there if you can. Yeah,
I think
okay.
we got baseball going on right now, and we got weight room right next to me. We got a great classroom upstairs there, and then we got the awesome the basketball court, and then there's a recovery room in the back as well with a couple cold tubs and a sauna, massage chair, red light therapy, bed. So it's a pretty great setup here. You got everything you need as a pro athlete. So amateur athletes, they've really gone above and beyond here to provide every facility that you can take advantage of to get better.
So you're and it's affordable too. Like that's a pretty affordable to come train, right? Like if people want, if so, what age groups are you training specifically? And if they want to come train with you and Shamar, who's Shamar Donaldson, Vincent's son, former rider, great Michigan State alum, like it's pretty inexpensive to speed train with him and then come with you with the agilities and stuff.
Yeah, you can just go on the Den's website, the Den YQR.ca. It's pretty inexpensive. You can buy, passes of 5 to 10. You can buy class passes. You can buy monthly membership. There's so many different options, and the owners, Chad and Paige, are very flexible and making it affordable for all athletes, and they don't have to commit too long term because we realize other kids have, off-season football, hockey, basketball, baseball, other things going on. So it is very flexible and affordable for all kids to come out and train. For myself, I'm doing Tuesday, Thursdays a lot, it's looking like, in terms of classes for me for football. And I'm really open to any skill position. If it's receiver, DB, it all applies, right? We're just at that age trying to become better athletes and refining our craft. So we're doing that. I'm doing that Tuesday, Thursdays, and Shamar is supplementing some speed and agility stuff throughout the week, as well as stuff in the gym with strength training, and open to all ages. I like working with younger kids from grade 7 to, grade 10 or 11. Like, it's really open to anybody.
So, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but like I am, kind of. It's not bragging. I'm just stating facts. Grandpa always taught, not your grandpa, which we'll talk about at the end of this, but my grandpa taught me it's not bragging if you can do it, or it's not bragging if you do it. Okay. So you were a pretty accomplished, highly accomplished receiver in high school and potentially at the college level. And then you made the switch at NCAA, playing high-level NCAA football as a defensive back, and that's what you're doing now. So when you say you can coach receivers and DBs, you know exactly what you're talking about with both sides of the football. I think that's kind of one of maybe your competitive advantages.
Yeah, and I think it's helped me as I've gone on in football. You kind of get to see both sides of it, and from that skill position point of view, it's beneficial to know what the guy you're lining up against across is thinking, right? In terms of the routes he's going to run, or the DB, what kind of shade he has, what technique he's playing, how you can take advantage of that stuff and exploit it. So I think it's super beneficial. I mean, I learned from guys like Nick Lewis, and then, the Vincent Donaldsons, and I've taken stuff from you that you've taught me throughout the years, like just bits and pieces from everybody. And I think I don't know it all, and I'm never going to claim to know it all, but I've developed a wealth of knowledge. And then, playing a year of pro defensive back and getting to sit in those meetings and learn from guys like Jordan Younger, Richie Hall, Reddick Cramby, Dietrich Nichols. Like, it's pretty cool stuff that I've got to, take part in and learn and grow as a football player. So I'm just trying to pass that on and teach some of these kids the things that I've learned.
Well, and that's the thing. Not too many guys get a chance to be a skilled athlete out of Saskatchewan and go play NCAA, then come play U Sports, and then go to the CFL. Like, you've got a kind of interesting journey, so you can be a wealth of knowledge for a lot of kids. Like, you played meaningful reps all the way around, so that is kind of cool. Do you kind of thank God, because I know you're a spiritual guy? Do you thank God because you come a couple of years later, and it's a heck of a lot tougher for a Canadian to get down to the States now with NIL and the portal and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I always believe, God's timing is never late, and it's easy for us to be like, oh, why didn't this happen, or why did this happen, and get down in the dumps because, we're at a certain position in our life. But I always just trusted in his plan, and, some way or another, if you look back on your life, everything's worked out the way it's supposed to in terms of timing and why something did happen for you or didn't happen for you, or why, something went wrong or went right. So, yeah, obviously I'm super grateful, and, I'm just very blessed that I've got to experience a lot of different things with, Canadian high school football, going down to the States, playing American ball, coming back up and getting a little taste of U Sports football, and then ultimately accomplishing my dream of getting to play in the league I grew up watching, the CFL. So I'm just blessed with all those things. And that's really what I want to show these kids, that it is possible for a kid from Regina who played all 4 years of high school football here, RMF, flag football. Like, I did all those things to make it and do what you really want to do. So that's the whole goal of this process. And, with that knowledge that I've gained and all the different experiences, it's easy for me to be able to talk about recruiting processes in Canada, because I went through that twice. And then I went through recruiting process and camps in the US and committed to an American school and did that. So I kind of have this array of knowledge that I can pass on to kids trying to get to that next level.
And the kid that wants to get drafted and do that too.
Yeah, 100%. And go through, I just recently, obviously last year, went through the draft process and the stress of that, and, how you go about getting an agent, when you should do that thing, how you should train for the combine, how you should approach draft interviews and talking to teams. So, of course, there's like so many things that go into it that aren't even necessarily football related on the field, but the stuff that is around the game too, that I can, help just give a little bit of my experience to them. So 100%.
Can't wait to call. We're calling the finals of that Battle of the Prairies football at the R Center with Zelko Stefanovic and the SAS Selects program. Got to give him a shout out too, because he was a big part of getting you where you need to go too.
100%. Yeah, going to those camps in the States for that whole week, like right before finals. I think in grade 11, we went to Northwestern, Wisconsin, South Dakota State, and then you took me down to North Dakota, and that was the first chance North Dakota really got to look at me, and then the rest is kind of history. And he's doing a great job with the selects program. There's so many kids here that train here that go and compete with the selects. And I was just chatting to a couple of them tonight. I actually trained one of them. They got a big game tomorrow versus Airdrie, so he's pretty excited. They said Airdrie's a really good team. Said Mexico is actually a really good team at one of the age groups as well. So sounds like it's a good tournament so far, and I'm excited to get out there Sunday and see some of the action.
Indiana just smoked Oregon, just destroyed them. So they're taking on Miami. They're taking on Miami. Do you think Indiana finishes it off? Be a cool story. And I think we're going to start seeing more of these schools in NCAA. Now that they can pay money, these Midwestern schools are rich. And now that they can pay guys, you're going to see guys who wouldn't normally go to Penn State, go to some of these places like Indiana. They'll go to Indiana now.
Yeah, and I just like the way that Cignetti has done it. Like, they have no 5 stars. I saw a comparison versus Oregon. Oregon had between 5 stars and 4 stars. Oregon has like 54 guys in the roster. And Indiana, between 5 stars and 4 stars, has 0 5 stars and 7 4 stars. So, and I think Kirk Herbstreit hit it on the head the other night. It's still about building a good team. Like, you can have all the talent in the world, but it's about getting the right guys and a group gelled together and bought in. And I think Indiana and Cignetti is a perfect example of that. And I think they're going to roll into Hard Rock, even though, it's a home game for Miami. And I think they're going to put the boots on them too. I just don't see any. Yeah. I just don't see how that Mendoza kid loses to Carson Beck and Cignetti's rolling, and he's got those guys, feeling like underdogs and like, hey, we need to prove a point that we can do this thing. And I think they're going to cap off with a national championship. I just don't see how they lose.
I think they're going to rinse them. Isn't it weird that?
I think so too.
Isn't it weird that Ray Lewis and Michael Irvin are standing on college football side? It looks stupid. Michael Irvin's on coke again. Come on.
It's just so goofy. Like, as a guy who played college football, maybe it's because Irvin and Lewis have given so much money to the program or something. It's like a weird political thing behind the scenes. But like, as a guy who's on the sideline and been on college football sidelines, like, that is so weird to have alumni, no matter how big the name, like, standing behind the coach in the middle of big moments, yelling and screaming and jumping up and down. And then the way he's acting after the game, like, in my opinion, it's just a terrible look for the program. I think it's goofy and dumb. But I guess we'll see. I mean, I think I'm cheering for Indiana. I think a lot of people are cheering for Indiana. That Peach Bowl tonight was absolutely sold out with Indiana crowd, barely any Oregon fans there. So I think it'll be a good crowd for Indiana in Miami on 2 weeks from now.
So you got your miraculous medal on, and you are a God-fearing kid. So your grandpa just passed away, my dad. On the 7th, Ukrainian Christmas, actually, which is kind of interesting. What did you learn from your grandpa?
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of things that, and he wasn't a man of many words, but just the way he lived his life, I think. And like you said, a very faith-based, devout Christian and Catholic, and the way he treated grandma, and, just the conviction he had, and he never wavered on his morals. And it's the same things you've instilled in me, and just hard work, and the way he's battled through health issues and stuff over the last 25 years is just, it speaks volumes to the kind of man he is. And it just makes me want to represent that ball name on the back of my jersey even more. So I'm excited this season to be able to do that and carry on the legacy of, balls in this community and what it means to be a ball. So I'm excited for that. And it's sad, but I just know he's going to be watching down on us and smiling and catching games from heaven now, even though he could never come to watch a game in Winnipeg in person. Yeah. I think it'll be special to be able to play for him this year and wear the name on the back of my jersey.
Yeah, it sucks. Your other grandpa didn't see you play football at all from high school on, and this grandpa had tickets to the Labor Day Classic, and a couple Labor Day Classics ago, he went as a Rider fan with all the stuff because I was a radio announcer, and then I got him tickets and grandma tickets in the end zone there by Pill Country. the wheelchair place in the area, and then he got sick and couldn't go. So he did watch it in his hospital room. But yeah, no, that's interesting. It's funny. He is a man of few words. I'm going to tell a funny story to wrap this up. It has nothing to do with football. So I'm about 14 years old, and the TV show Knight Rider is big, right? The talking car, which.
Yeah.
That would be if you watch an episode now, you'd be like, Dad, this is so tacky compared to the vehicles that I sell on the lot at Crestview Chrysler. By the way, you want to get a car, come see me, 526-79-79601 Albert Street. I'll be there for a few hours on Saturday and then gone for a few days because of the funeral. Anyway, my mom says, okay, Michael, you and your dad's going to talk to you about something very important. I'm going to go to Andy Charlotte's for a bit. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It was supposed to be a birds and a bees sex talk, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, so Michael, when like he's on one couch, I'm on one couch in the living room, TV's on. He goes, when you get to be a certain age, you start to feel differently and things start to change in your body. I'm like, okay. He's like, and you might start to notice like girls more. And I'm like, yep. And then all of a sudden, the Knight Rider theme song comes up. We literally went to the kitchen, got some chips and pop, and we watched the show. And he said at the end, just tell your mom that was a good talk. And that was it. He was a man of few words. He really was.
That's a classic Grandpa Ball show and way to approach a conversation like that. That's hilarious.
That is good. Anyway, man, so if they want to get a hold of you, they just go give us the website again, and they can follow you guys all on socials too.
Yeah, it's just the Den YQR. You can follow any of our socials at the Den. You can also text my personal number too, 306-570-4715. Yeah, shoot us a DM, shoot me a DM on Instagram, text my number, just sign up online. So many ways to get a hold of us.
Hey, man, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Love you. Talk to you. I'll talk to you probably 15 times tomorrow. See ya.
Thanks. Love you.